Hello everyone, welcome to ReZ Snapper. My name's MJ,
and welcome to our spooky Halloween special.
Today we're talking about dead cards. No one plays them, they need help, they need an OTA or a buff or something, and in some instances I'll even suggest what I think should happen to them. But let's move on to the first card, Mantis. She's in the thumbnail, she's a 1-2 on reveal. If your opponent played any cards here this turn, copy one of them into your hand. She just doesn't work. It's just impossible. Like the upside is so small and the requirement to trigger that upside is so big that it's just not worthwhile. I've actually featured Mantis in my sort of these cards need a buff videos in the past, and like I've had a few suggestions like turn her into that location. Is it Machine World, where if your opponent plays a copy there you just get a copy to your hand? Like, even that, I don't think is that interesting. I don't have a suggestion for her. Yeah, I just really hope that they fix Mantis, because I'd love to be able to play her. She's a cool character, but I think the card is weak. Let's move on to the next one, which is Uatu. And I've got a really cool suggestion for this guy. I hope you guys like it. He's currently a 1-2. At the start of the game, shows unrevealed locations to you. Like, sure, sometimes that's helpful, I suppose, but not really. Certainly not seeing any play in any specific great way at all. My suggestion here is keep him the same, he still does that, but also an additional ability, hold a location to view what it will transform to. So there's several card effects in the game that transform locations, like Nico, like Scarlet Witch, and what if there was an ability to see if that location were to be transformed, what it would roll into. That's very interesting. So could you have this new powerful location control deck with the likes of Scarlet Witch and Nico, maybe Legion, all that sort of thing? It could be very interesting. Hey, listen, anything's probably better than what we've got now with Uatu. Now, let's have a fun interlude. I've got a food review channel. I'm just going to insert random Halloween clips.
The ones that you saw. Did you fart?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Halloween fart. It's a scary Halloween fart. That is scary. I think I shit myself. That's really scary. So I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, moving on to the next one, Elektra, guys. She's currently at 1-2. On reveal, destroy an enemy 1-cost card here. Like, it's not like Elektra and this power is actually that bad. Like, it's sort of fine, but it's not really powerful or valuable enough. So how about this suggestion for her? Again, similar to Uatu, we keep that element, but we add an additional power onto her. Activate, destroy an enemy 1-cost card here. So you literally basically just duplicating her effect. So you get the on reveal, but then you also can activate and basically trigger that effect again. So she's got 2 size, guys. She's got 2 size. She can kill 2 people, right? It makes sense thematically, and it also is almost like she acts like a bit of a deterrent for your opponent to play 1-cost cards there. What if in a Scorn deck you play this, they now know that they can't play that Scorn there, because at the end of the game you'll like activate as the last thing you do, and you might snipe their Scorn. You know, interesting things like that. I think this could be a pretty cool opportunity for Elektra. Let's move on to a little package of cards now, the Sentinel cards. Again, these are some cards that I have actually featured in my buff up series, which is where I talk about cards that could do with a buff. Anyway, Sentinel. 2-3, on reveal, add another Sentinel to your hand. Like, the card is sort of fine. Like, it's really not setting anyone's world alight, though, and it's certainly not seeing the play like it used to in, like, Collector and Shield style decks. It just needs a little push. And my overall proposal with the Sentinel cards is actually almost make it its own archetype. So my proposal for a change to Sentinel would be bring him down to a 2-2. On reveal, add another Sentinel to your hand. However, ongoing, +1 power for each other Sentinel here. So that means your Sentinels, if you've got a location full of Sentinels, every Sentinel is actually 5 power. So that's 20 power on that location, which could be enough to win that location. And then in that sort of style of deck, you might be running some sort of Athena shenanigans. So you can play a Sentinel and then something else on the same turn. Could be very interesting. Is it too powerful? It's giving you a lot of resource in order to win a location with 20 power? I don't know. What do you think? But this change goes hand in hand with my proposal for Master Mold. Currently a 2-2 on reveal, add 2 Sentinel to your opponent's hand. Basically only played in like Ronan the Accuser decks, like the occasional sort of Dark Hawk hybrid deck. And I actually like Master Mold. In fact, I'll tell you what, guys, with the Collector's Vault that just came out, I was gutted because I really want the Kim Jacinto Master Mold variant, and I didn't get offered it in my shop. I was gutterano-id. Anyway, my proposal for change to Master Mold. Give this guy a chance, right? Hand in hand with the Sentinel change. How about, still does the same thing. Let's buff his power up to 3, and with the ongoing ability, +1 power for each Sentinel in play. So this includes your opponent's cards, and is obviously, unlike the Sentinels, this is like a board-wide thing. So you may be running Sentinels yourself alongside Master Mold, forcing your opponent to play the Master Mold. Maybe you do like a Grandmaster on the Master Mold, really trying to force your opponent to play those Sentinels. And this guy grows in power. What do you think? Is this too strong now? If you consider cards like, I guess, like Morbius, right? Morbius is a 2 power, a 2 energy card that can reach such high power status. Is this Master Mold that much more crazy than that? I don't know. But here's a curveball for you guys. This is not a dead card. This is a card so dead that it doesn't even exist. If this little Sentinel package was a thing in the game, maybe it could be its own archetype with a brand new card. And so maybe they could introduce Bastion as a 5/0 on reveal, destroy all Sentinels, so this includes your opponents as well, gain their power, and revive them. I think this is super interesting. You kind of got flavours of Nimrod in here with like the reviving of Sentinel tech things, and potentially very powerful if you really have leaned into that Sentinel archetype. I think this is really interesting. Also, like, sort of fuel for null as well, so it'd be a kind of a different style of destroy deck potential as well there. I don't know, I think this is cool and interesting, guys. Let's move on to the next dead card, Mr. Fantastic. He's currently an ongoing, adjacent locations have +2 power. Like, he's just not seeing play, and this seems like an easy change. Just stick him up to 3/3, 3/4. Would he really go super explosive and outrageous? Like 3/3 would surely be fine. 3/4, I actually think he'd be an incredibly solid card. He has got the slight restriction already that really you can only truly benefit from his full potential, at least by playing him at the middle location. So there is that restriction to him. He already has that downside. Just give it a try. How about another fun little interlude and another clip? Oh, I look like Chad Kruger.
You bloody f***ing idiot.
I hope you enjoyed that very hilarious Halloween clip. Right, moving on. This one is, again, it's a card that we've talked about a lot. It's Rhino. He's currently a 3/3 on reveal. Ruin this location, brackets, remove its ability. Now, we've discussed in the past things like maybe he adds a rock when he ruins the location. So maybe he's got like an element of a clock card to him there. But I've seen other people suggest this. Maybe just make him a 3/5. Would it really be that bad? Just try it, guys. Just second dinner if you're listening, if you're watching. Save our Rhino. Hashtag save. No, that's a weird hashtag, weird campaign. Right. Let's talk about Jessica Jones, and spoilers, the next card we're going to talk about is Rescue. These are cards that definitely need some help, but I think there's some really interesting changes you can do with them. Neither of them are seeing play at the moment. I'm devastated because I've recently just got the Jessica Jones dual variant, and I actually got the dual variant avatar to Infinity in the Infinity Conquest run, so I unlocked the avatar. So I would be absolutely delighted if Jessica Jones got a buff. She's currently a 4/5 on reveal. If you don't play a card at this location next turn, +4 power. How about we change her to a 4/5, so still a 4/5, but at the end of your turn, if you didn't play a card at this location, gain +4 power. So this allows her ability to trigger multiple times, but still has that very crucial disadvantage of you having to basically lock down a location and not play cards there. It also means she's much more valuable with Doctor Doom, which means you have this new sort of lockdown style deck, or not new, but it revives the old sort of style of lockdown deck where you do play your Jessica Jones, you do play your Claw or your Doom or whatever. Super interesting stuff, and it allows her to get to, quite a high power stat line of 413 But again, guys, you do have that downside where you can't play at her location in order to get that buff. So I think this is pretty cool. And it doesn't work on the turn she comes down on turn 4 because you have played a card at that location. You've played her. It doesn't say another card. So I don't know. I think this would be a really cool change. It avoids Shang-Chi on the first turn. It doesn't on the third turn. So, I should say, it avoids Shang-Chi when she goes up to 9 power. It doesn't avoid it if she then goes back up to 13. So, yeah, I just think this would be cool. And similarly, let's look at Rescue and do a similar change. Currently 4/4 on reveal. If you play a card at this location next turn, plus 5 power. Let's tweak this. This needs to be having slightly more specific wording than the Jessica Jones to ensure that it isn't broken, that this proposal isn't broken. So 4/4, at the end of your turn, if you played another card at this location, gain plus 3 power. So the amount of power that she gains I've brought down from my proposal for Jessica Jones, and that is because you can actually trigger this ability on the same turn that you play Rescue, either in a deck where you've got more energy, be it Arishem, be it, I mean, you wouldn't be playing this in Electro, but Electro, I mean, maybe Wiccan, whatever, but also just with zero costed cards. Wasp, does this bring in a new style of deck where you're playing multiple cards but some of them are lower cost? Anyway, and so yeah, theoretically you can get this to trigger on turn 4, 5 and 6 for a plus 9, bringing her to 13 power, similar to the Jessica Jones. Although you could actually extend the game with magic and do it again. So again, lots of opportunity, and she's kind of like a Mega Angela in a way. So I think, again, this is a really cool change, and I would love to see that happen. Moving on, right, next, right, guys, Kang the Conqueror, right? Let's be real here. He's a 5/0 on reveal. Look at what your opponent did, then restart the turn without this. Guys, I actually do think that this is kind of an important card in the game. Like, it's kind of iconic. Not character-wise, actually just talking about the power. Of course the character is iconic, but just from a power perspective, an ability perspective, I actually would like to keep this card in the game. However, I think Kang the Conqueror deserves a more powerful and better ability, and just in order to have the card be played more. So I would... Excuse me, I've got like gassy shenanigans. Sorry, I'm really sorry about that. It is Halloween, so that was like a spooky burp. I would actually just stick this guy's ability on another card. Maybe like Franklin Richards. I think Franklin Richards is like a time manipulator as well. And also they're related, so it kind of works. Maybe move that onto him, or like a low-grade time villain. I don't have much knowledge of time villains or time characters in Marvel Snap. And then move Kang the Conqueror onto a different ability. I don't know what it could be, by the way. I don't have a suggestion for Kang. But just give him something more interesting and better. And now let's move on to my final suggestion, guys. It's Adam Warlock. Everyone knows Adam Warlock is completely dead. Literally, I mean, there were some people absolutely coping, saying I'll play him in high voltage, which was just an absolutely crazy... Listen, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but that was a crazy suggestion. And anyway, so he's a 5/5 currently. After each turn, draw a card if you're winning here. Just doing absolutely nothing. Doing absolutely nothing, because imagine wasting your turn 5 to ensure you get another draw when you could have just played something which will help you win the game. Like, yeah, he just doesn't work. I think he should get a similar rework to Spider-Man, in that just completely change his power, completely change the ability, flip it on its head. I would say move him to a 4/7, so good stat line, and at the end of each turn, move to a random location and give it plus 2 power. So this is another card which gives locations power, which there's not masses of cards that actually do this. Things like Ms. Marvel, Iron Man, that sort of thing. But this one would almost, this Adam Warlock version would almost give it an actual like straight power to a location, and almost sort of locks it in, because that's currently not something. Yeah, it's not something you can interact with at the moment, is it? I don't think like affecting or removing the actual power from a location itself. So the reason that I made him a 4/7 and not a slightly lower power, because honestly he could probably still be good with a lower power, but because of the unpredictability that he is moving 7 power, it's almost like got an element of Silk to him. Literally, he's removing such great power, and that adds unpredictability. That's why I made him a 4-7 rather than like a 4-6 or a 4-5 or something, which I still think he'd be a fun card at those power levels. But I'd love to see this change, be an interesting sort of move strategy, and you could block off locations to make sure he moves to a specific one, extend the game, and you get an extra +2 out of him as well. So yeah, I certainly think this would be more interesting than his current power set. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Christmas special. What do you think of these buff ideas and my selection of dead cards? Is there any cards that you're surprised I didn't feature in this dead cards Halloween special? Thank you very much for watching. Guys, we are like this far away from 2,099 subscribers, by the way. I'm not even saying this to say subscribe, unless you did get this far and you haven't subscribed. Do subscribe. But we have got such a spicy video. Like, it's going to be so funny and so cringe. So yeah, if you like cringe, look forward to that. I should have ended this video like a minute ago. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.